You know as well as I do how important it is to have this continual measurement if you want to stay on top.
Well, one of the major dealer groups in the North American market where they decided actually just to switch off AI completely.
Those who measure with Pied Piper find out very quickly. And if they don't, just like I said, it's the customer that figures it out.
It almost became part of the culture where the dealer knows that there is an AI solution implemented and they would let the phone call ring to voicemail.
That's like saying we have autoresponders to respond to our emails. So we don't need to check whether or not our process is working. We know that every single email is being responded to. Like, that would be insane. That would be crazy. Of course, there are still problems.
That part of using it as a crutch is most likely the area that needs to be monitored and measured, because there could be potentially risks involved.
If things go wrong, it's very easy for clients to our clients' customers to go and find an independent service center.
It reminds me of my days back in the dealership, Eric. Having to be responsible for a couple of stores. For me, my team knew exactly what to do. They knew how to fix it. But sometimes there's just things that's on fire that you don't know about. And all you really need is someone that gives you a tap on the shoulder. Hey, look at that situation or look at that matter. That's all you would need. Hey, Eric, as we are closing out 2025, it certainly has been very interesting here, and particularly from a Pied Piper PSI solution point of view when it comes to AI products, solutions, and effectiveness of implementing the tools with many of these clients that we've worked with in the last year. And particularly today, looking at those top performing dealer groups that keep on using us as a burglar alarm, using our PSI solutions rather than a one-stop diagnostic tool, one-time sort of evaluation process. And that is something that I thought we can maybe go into a little bit deeper today.
Absolutely, Alwyn. Well, you say burglar alarm. That's the exact right way to put it. The top performing dealerships, we know from measuring them, because that's all we do. We know that the top performing dealerships, they are using these sorts of measurements as exactly that, a burglar alarm. If they were just using these measurements to once or twice a year, just checking, they essentially will learn what they already know. But if we look at those top performing dealerships who use it as a burglar alarm, they're finding that whenever there is something that goes wrong, when a third-party provider silently stops providing what they're expecting, when somebody suddenly they come to work one day and they just forgot that they need to be checking this tool or passing off this information to one of their systems, and then that causes a chain reaction of problems where customers' information is not passed from one step to another. They find these problems immediately with this continual measurement, and it's no wonder why they remain top performing dealerships. As well as I do how important it is to have this continual measurement if you want to stay on top, because these unknown things, they crop up, and the first person to find out is your customer, and you only find out that they found out once you start seeing fewer customers come through the door.
And I think that's why many of our clients are preferring using our solutions, that it's not a real end customer, a real end opportunity that's getting lost, while obviously measuring the entire process. It's not just the AI solution, it's the entire process, the whole entire component that needs to be evaluated. It reminds me of a interesting conversation earlier this year with one of the major dealer groups in the North American market, where they decided actually just to switch off AI completely. They found too many variables in that conversation. They were not confident enough by using our Pied Piper PSI solutions, ILE, TLE, ST, SWE, and they picked up very quickly. It's not just about the AI, it's also about the process around that. So I think that's why it's so important.
Yeah, it's not enough to just say we have an AI chatbot now, and that's going to solve all our problems. that's like saying we have autoresponders to respond to our emails. So we don't need to check whether or not our process is working. We know that every single email is being responded to. Like, that would be insane. That would be crazy. Of course, there are still problems. These AIs are very advanced. They're able to have these fantastic conversations, but so are people. We know that you can hire some guy who can he can yap forever, but then when it comes to say, hey, what was the name of that customer? Did you write down their information? What was their problem? What are they here for? And you go, oh, it skipped my mind. I was just having a great conversation with them. So many of these AIs are exactly the same because they may be able to hold a great conversation, but then when you put the rubber to the road and they have to transfer that information either to other subsystems or directly to your staff, that's where all the problems come. And that still is a problem no matter how advanced these AI goes. We know because you might have some super, super high performing employees and even they can make mistakes. And it's the exact same with these AIs. And it's just yet another one of these systems that they provide a great opportunity to give customers exactly the experience they're looking for, meeting them where they are. But just like all the rest of these systems, responding with a video in your text message, responding with an autoresponder, using email, it's just yet another thing that can go wrong. And if it can go wrong, it will. And if it does go wrong, those who measure with Pied Piper find out very quickly. And if they don't, just like I said, it's the customer that figures it out. If you think of it like a person, even the very best people make mistakes. Even the very best people can forget and get overwhelmed if the problem is too complicated outside of what they're experienced with. And it's the same thing with these AIs. We already see that most dealerships already have something in the works, or if not something already deployed that is using some of these brand new AIs, large language models and the likes. And down the line, we'll see more. We'll see more phone calls handled entirely by AI, more service phone calls handled entirely by AI, more AI chatbots. It still has this transfer where you take from the digital field into the real world where you're transferring to your staff in the dealership. And that is always fraught with peril, and you always need a watchful eye looking at that process, because it's, like I said, it's fraught with peril and will fail if you look away for one moment.
Absolutely, and it also reminds me of another conversation earlier this year. And I mean, we understand it, we get to deal with it on a daily basis. I mean, our dealer partners are super busy. They've got so many dashboards to keep on monitoring. They've got so many things on a daily basis that they have to cover. I mean, you've got customers on the telephone, you've got customers on the floor. It's not always possible. So therefore, in that space where AI is really helping, but in this one particular case, it almost became part of the culture where the dealer knows that there is an AI solution implemented, and they would let the phone call ring to voicemail because they know there's an actual tool involved that they can obviously answer those calls. So I think that was very interesting conversation, because that part of using it as a crutch is most likely the area that needs to be monitored and measured, because there could be potentially risks involved by using it as a crutch.
Right. I mean, it's just like the round robin telephone schedule. If you've got all of your service managers tied up with something, they say, oh, the phone's ringing, but Bob will grab it, and Bob says the phone's ringing, but Joe will grab it. Then the phone just keeps ringing. The exact same thing can end up sort of happening with AI. And these are things that we measure with our services. ILE uses, we measure the chat response. We measure the leads that are submitted through the web. We see, did anything happen? The customer has this experience, they're having it digitally, it's being handled, and your staff don't have to worry about it. That's the whole point. Saves them some time. But after they're done, do you get the lead, and do you actually make something happen with that? We measure this, and we see that a good percentage of the time, even when it's been handled successfully up front by an AI, something happens, something falls through. And we see that in the lack of responses in our measurements. And that's what our clients are looking for with these continual measurements. They're looking to see, hey, we're getting high scores, we're getting high scores, we're getting high scores. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, nobody was expecting this, but look, we got a low score. And we find maybe it's one guy who forgot how to use this system, or maybe it is a technical issue like I described. But you're totally right. You can get complacent. You can get reliant upon these systems, and we know that dealerships understand this already. They know how to run their business. It's really just a matter, just like I was saying, you bring in the health inspector and he just tells you all the things where, hey, you missed this spot, and now you know exactly what to do once we pointed it out. You know exactly which guy to go and say, hey, you need to be logging into your portal every time and checking this. Otherwise, we're losing leads. It's really a matter of just finding where that process is breaking down.
Oh, absolutely. And it's super important also to know what's exactly happening out there. I mean, we tend to get busy in our operations, and, that's what we focus on. But earlier this year, also in our study, for the first time, we included 4 independent service centers as a matter of interest, having to evaluate versus franchise dealers. And we were absolutely blown away with what we found. Without certain other tools or solutions in place, I think the most important thing to take in consideration and the takeaways from those measurements that we did was that if a customer calls and they cannot reach or achieve what they wanted to achieve on that phone call, they think with their feet. They quickly go to the next available answer or phone call or human interaction that they need in order to make that service booking. And I think that's an important factor to take into consideration, making sure that all the tools that are to our disposal, that it actually works in the customer's interest.
Right. And with our launched this year service website effectiveness service, we've got everything our clients need to know whether or not that process is being handled effectively, whether or not when the customer comes calling, are you handling that initial interaction well, but also are you following up with them? Did they get all the information they need? When they come in for their service appointment, do they come in and say, hey, I'm here for my oil change, and your guy looks at him and says, what oil change? Or is he going, yeah, I've got all of our technicians ready, I've got a bay for you and whatnot? You're totally right. If things go wrong, it's very easy for clients our clients' customers, to go and find an independent service center. And on the sales side, we all know that it's super competitive. If Toyota doesn't do well, they're headed over to the Chevrolet dealership, and it's like the same for every industry, every brand category.
Oh, totally. No, absolutely. It reminds me of my days back in the dealership, Eric. I mean, having to be responsible for a couple of stores. For me, my team knew exactly what to do. They knew how to fix it. But sometimes there's just things that's on fire that you don't know about. And all you really need is someone that gives you a tap on the shoulder, a little bit of an MBA insight, as to what we like to call it, as to, hey, look at that situation or look at that matter. That's all you would need, is to know that you've got someone backing you up in your team, having to identify whether it's digitally something is failing or whether there's some particular factor in the environment that's preventing your customers from getting the treatment that we all aspire and we all know how to do. So yeah, really helpful to have these tools in place, certainly in 2025, the involvement, and we are excited to see what happens in 2026 as it starts giving and growing on a daily basis. But yeah, as we always say at Pied Piper, it's so important to measure it and report it, because improvement happens if you report those matters. Eric, it's been great spending time with you, recapturing a little bit and highlighting things of 2024. I really hope that you have a wonderful holiday season, and yeah, I'll see you in the new year.
Likewise. Merry Christmas, Alwyn. We'll see you in 2026, everyone.
Bye-bye.